This is a mock interview conducted by Forum IAS Academy at New Delhi. The interview panel includes eminent academicians, retired bureaucrats, and other luminaries. The objective of the program is to acquaint the candidate with the format and expectations of the personality test conducted by UPSC.
Madam, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Sauryaman Patel.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain what does it mean? What it means?
So, Saurya means courage, Man means heart. So, somebody who has courage in the heart.
Sauryaman Patel.
Yes, sir.
I see. So courageous. We're not only the whole body is not courageous. Only my heart is courageous.
Yes.
Don't agree with that?
So, that is usually the most important part.
Okay. So that guides the whole body.
Yes.
Okay. I see you. You have appeared 4 times, isn't it? After 2017. Did you work also somewhere?
No, sir.
Only working for this.
Yes, sir.
And did you appear in interview earlier?
No, sir.
This is the first interview.
Yes, sir.
So what went wrong? I mean, thrice you couldn't make it.
Sir.
Did you write in mains also earlier?
Yes, sir. Sir, I cleared pre all the 4 times. I wrote mains all the 4 times.
You wrote main all the 4 times.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Sir,
okay.
my writing skills were not particularly good. So I did until 12th. I was from Hindi medium, so I was struggling a little with the English and writing skills.
Okay, so that is the handwriting has really caused you this kind of.
Yes, sir.
That's the importance of handwriting. That means. Okay, tell me, you write diaries. Do you write in Hindi or English?
So both. Sometimes in Hindi, sometimes in English.
Okay. Any diary that you have written which you think you can narrate to us?
Sir, the entries that I make in the diary are usually very random. Those are usually about my thoughts and feelings and the things that I'm going through.
No, anyone that you would like to share. If you don't want to share, no problem.
Sir, 4 years back, I wrote about depression, how I got into it and why I was into the cycle of depression. And I kept writing and gradually I found that there was some improvement.
So writing basically, spitting it out or taking it out really helped you.
Yes, sir.
Or you took some treatment also.
No, sir.
So what was the cause of depression?
Sir, mostly isolation. I got isolated quite a lot after graduation because I was only focused on studying, and that is mostly it.
Okay. So suppose you are sort of appointed in a position which is not really doesn't have any public contact. There will be isolation, isn't it? So there also you think you will feel. I mean, you might really get depressed again. The tendency is there.
No, sir. I have learned that talking to people, at least talking to your friends and families, is very important. And we must not get isolated. We must not live only into ourselves. So I do not think that I will fall back into that kind of depression again.
Okay, so you have learned from that experience, so you will take care that you don't fall into that.
Yes.
Okay, you have taken mathematics as optional.
Yes, sir.
Tell us what is the contribution of India to the mathematics, to the field of mathematics?
Sir, India has a very rich history with respect to mathematics. Rig Vedas, Surya Siddhantas, so those describe the planetary movements when eclipse happens and when it doesn't happen. They date back to around 1000 BC. And around 2nd and 3rd century, we found Baskali manuscripts where we found 0. So 0 is a placeholder. Without 0, modern computation system will completely break down. And that basically propelled the mathematics where it is today, right now.
So after that, we completely stopped?
No, sir. Sir, after that, there was Aryabhatta.
Those are old things. Tell us about 20th century or 21st century mathematicians.
So Srinivas Ramanujan, his mock theta function.
What did he contribute?
Sir, he worked on mock theta function, infinite series, and sinusoidal functions.
In sinusoidal functions.
Yes, sir. Those,
What are his contribution in sinusoidal functions?
sir, I do not specifically know, but they are very
But
frequently.
tell me one thing, you say that in ancient India we were very good in mathematics. But at that time only less than 10% people were allowed to read and write. So the education was accessible only to less than 10% people. So 90% people were not contributing to mathematics at all.
Yes,
So
sir.
how can you say such a small number of people can contribute so much, and now it is becoming inclusive, all 100% people can contribute, and we are not contributing at all? How do you reconcile this dichotomy?
Earlier, that was the case across the whole world. Mathematics was usually concentrated at the top of the bureaucracy or the social hierarchies that were developed. So the mathematicians usually were paid by the state or whatever local states kings were,
Okay.
and there were also the need to record data.
So tell me where we lost. We were very sort of important. We developed quadratic equation solutions and so on and so forth. And after that completely we went to the background. At present nobody really knows our mathematicians in the last, say 400, 500 years.
So that is because the Western countries education is accessible to everybody. In India, that is the highest kind of mathematics education is not accessible to everybody. That creates the whole difference. We have a large population base, yet that does not translate into our success in the field.
Okay. Recently, the Supreme Court said that they are going to hear the electoral bond case. There is a petition in the Supreme Court. What was the electoral bond? And was there any opposition? Then from which organizations? And what was the ground of opposition?
Sir, electoral bonds are instruments through which a donor can donate money to a political party anonymously. And it was Association for Democratic Reforms that initiated the petition. And the issues are that with the electoral bond, there have been relaxations in Companies Act that allows companies to donate, not disclose their donations to their shareholders. Companies no longer need to be in existence for more than 3 years. Besides, there are also relaxation in Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. So there can be some sort of donations that can come from foreign countries to India to the political parties. And besides,
so that was the content of the petition. But what the two important constitutional bodies opposed it. Do you know them?
Sir, Election Commission of India
And
sir, other body I do not know.
Reserve Bank of India. And what were the grounds you want to know?
Sir, Election Commission of India has asked for conditional anonymity. It wants the data with itself about who is donating to whom.
Why there should be anonymity?
Sir, anonymity protects donors from the political parties.
Why donor should be protected? It should be open to him.
Sir,
It's a matter of pride that he is contributing for promotion of democratic institutions. Why he should be protected?
Sir, if a donor makes a donation to a political party and that loses, and then the other political party comes into power, and that may penalize him for supporting the another political party.
The people will know that they are penalizing, so they will take action. People will take action against the government. Anyway, so that is one aspect for in defense. In opposition, do you agree that it can harm much more than what you are trying to gain from it?
Yes, sir. It can harm much more. In countries like United States, usually a lot of trusts can be made, and big companies fund the money to political parties through those trusts, and that creates a very high degree of non-transparency in the system. So, sir, in my opinion, there must be more transparency rather than less.
So do you think in India there is electoral trust?
Sir, there is certainly a high degree of electoral trust.
No, electoral trust has been created in India or not for electoral funding?
Sir, I do not know.
I don't know. It is. Read about it.
Yes, sir.
You have written that you are interested in playing cricket, huh?
Yes, sir.
I think you follow IPL also?
Sir, I usually play gully cricket. I sometimes watch IPL.
You don't follow IPL, huh?
No, sir.
Okay. Recently, wholesale price index data was in news.
Yes, sir.
What was that news?
Sir, I do not remember exactly.
Okay. Any idea what is the RBI's range, desirable range of retail inflation, that it should not go below that and it should not go beyond that?
4 to 6%, sir.
Sure.
4 plus minus 2%.
What are the economic roots of Ukraine and Russia crisis? Are there any economic roots?
Sir, Ukraine wanted to join EU, and Russia, EU in its constitution had some clauses for defense, but they are not as rigid as NATO. So that is certainly one clause. And in 2014, Euromaidan protest was broadly because of the Viktor Yanukovych's decision to join Russian, to accept some Russian economic pact rather than the European one.
You are a technical person, studied from IIT. Tell me, what is cryptocurrency, and tell me non-jargon language.
So cryptocurrencies are digital currencies, and here all the data is stored after cryptographing them. It is broadly anonymized almost completely, and it cuts down all the middlemen, so people can transact with each other without any intervention of any bank, and all the data will be stored in the blockchain.
Can we call it really a currency?
So currency is a medium of exchange. By that idea, it can be called a currency. But sir, if we look into our modern systems, currency is also linked with monetary policies. And if the cryptocurrencies come, then organizations like Reserve Bank will lose that power of monetary policy. And in that sense, it is probably not the exact definition, does not meet the exact definition of currency.
There are certain countries in the world which have recognized cryptocurrency as a legal tender. Can you name those countries?
Sir, El Salvador is one country that comes to my mind.
Yesterday only, one more country has joined this list of countries which has accepted this.
Sir, I am unable to recollect at this moment.
What is Nifty?
Sir, Nifty is a share market platform. Share market. Sir, I do not know exactly.
What is Sensex?
So Sensex is, so this is where the trades for shares happen.
Sensex is a kind of trade platform or trade place where sale and purchase happen.
Yes, sir.
What are the problems of GST?
So the problem with GST, so the recent problem that was very significant, that was the issue with GST compensation cess. And another problem is the frequent changes in the GST slabs. Another issue is a large number of goods such as petroleum are outside the GST net.
Sauryaman Patel.
Yes, sir.
You did BTech in Biological Sciences and Bioengineering. What is bioengineering?
Sir, bioengineering is applying the principles of engineering to solve a problem on living systems that is connected with living systems. One example would be 3D printing of organs. So how do we build motifs, scaffoldings, so that we could reach the desired shape of the organ?
And what is biotechnology?
Sir, biotechnology is using biotechnology to create some favorable product.
I'm talking about what is biotechnology. You
Sir,
are using word biotechnology in the definition.
Sir, biotechnology is using the learnings from the biosciences to create a favorable product. One example would be GM foods.
Biotechnology means there are two terms, bio and technology. Okay? Application of technology in the living beings to improve human needs. It is biotechnology. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is genetically modified organisms?
Sir, the organisms whose DNA is modified by the application of a tool such as CRISPR-Cas9 and zinc finger in order to get some favorable effects.
Can you give some example of useful biotechnological products?
Sir, one example.
Both GM animal and GM crops.
So one example of GM crop would be BT cotton.
Okay.
And one example of GM animal would be gal-shaped pigs.
What is this?
Sir, alpha gal is a kind of sugar, and some people can have allergy to it. And gal-shaped pigs do not produce this alpha gal.
Okay.
So,
We made GM crop, we made GM animal. GMs like GM salmons, and you already told. Why not GM human? What are the issues related to made genetically modified human?
So firstly, we do not know everything about the genetic data of humans. So
Why? There was a genetic sequencing of human genome program was in India, but India was not participatory in the early age, but it was the US program just to know the entire genome sequence of human being. We know the entire sequence of human gene. Then,
sir, we know the sequence, but once those genes are encoded, they create proteins and they interact with each other. So that creates a very complex system.
what are the ethical issues? I am not going into technicalities. I am just know what is the ethical issues. Why we are not going to make genetically modified human beings?
Sir, this will violate all the human rights.
Human rights.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We cannot modify anybody else's life
Okay.
because just for our own gains, especially when we are not sure what their effects are going to be.
Do you know it is related to designer baby concept?
Yes, sir.
What is designer baby concept?
Designer baby changing the genome of babies for some favorable effects. Example would be recently in China, 2 babies were modified, their genome was modified, make them resistant to HIV.
Okay. What was that technology?
CRISPR-Cas9.
CRISPR
Cas9.
Cas9 technology. What is CRISPR Cas9 technology?
So CRISPR is essentially a protein that identifies where to mark that sequence that is to be cut. Cas9 is the enzyme that cuts at that sequence.
Which type of enzyme?
Sir.
Restriction endonuclease.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then
So then it cuts at that sequence, and then we can add.
they cut at the specific site.
Yes, sir. CRISPR identifies that, and Cas9 cuts at that sequence.
Then
And then whatever we want to insert, we can insert at the sequence, and then DNA cell fields.
okay. So how it is different from the normal we put a cut by a biological marker and then separate that DNA into a particular sequence. Then what causes CRISPR-Cas9 be so easy and more effective than other bioengineering process?
Sir, it is broadly about CRISPR-Cas9 being very, very feasible in the sense that it does not require a lot of modifications.
Okay.
We can only add the marker site, and that is broadly it.
You said that China had made 2 babies having resistant of HIV. Why most other countries opposing this step of China? What are the reason behind it?
Sir, first is the technical. We do not know what the effect will be.
Okay.
Second one is, it is essentially that baby's right to what happens to him. We cannot take away all the agency and choices from her.
There is issue related to designer baby concept. Another one is age related to the clone or the genetically modified organisms. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, separation or isolation from the societies. अगर आप इंटरव्यू दे रहे हैं, आपका जीनोम सीक्वेंस मेरे पास है, तो मैं देख लूँगा आप में कौन कौन सा जीन बढ़िया है नहीं है. On the basis of that, I will disqualify you. Direct tax collection surges in financial year 2022. Do you think it is, I am telling right or wrong?
So this is right.
Why?
So
Why there is upsurge in 2022 in comparison to previous our financial years?
So firstly is the base effect. Earlier tax collections were very low. So in percentage term that is very high. It seems very high. Second is economic activity is rebounding. And that is why more GST collection, more tax collection.
Okay. RBI released the inflationary expectation survey on household for March 2022. Do you know what is inflationary expectation survey?
No, sir.
Shaurya,
Yes, sir.
you have done your engineering in
Biological Science and Bioengineering.
biological science. Okay. How is biotech research in India? Can you give the positives and negatives? And also, is private sector participating enough?
So private sector participation has increased in the recent times, but a few years back, before the COVID, the demand for BSBE graduates were almost nil in the core sector. We usually do not innovate in India in the biotech sector. One reason is in the pharmaceutical sector, we are completely dependent on generic drugs. And another reason is we are very restrictive with respect to GMO crops. So because of that,
And some positives of the biotech research sector.
so some positive has been we have very large manufacturing capacity of vaccines that has enabled us to vaccinate almost the whole country. And we also produce very cheap drugs that enable access to health products.
What is the recombinant virus?
So recombinant virus is a virus whose DNA has been changed.
Are you sure? Then what is mutation then?
So right,
What is Omicron and the new variants that you are getting, and what is the combination of Delta and Omicron also?
so I'm completely blanking out about the recombination. So in the cases of virus, changes can be in the case of in the RNA too, because their genetic code is also can be stored in RNA.
So you have done bioengineering also. You must have studied viruses, right?
Yes, sir.
To some extent, right?
Yes, sir.
So what is the end game for COVID? Like how will it end, possibly in theory at least?
So in theory, COVID will become less and less lethal, and it would just live with the humans. Like a lot of microorganisms live in our body. At this point, the COVID going away is not particularly feasible because it has already spread so much.
So why does a virus get less lethal over a period of time?
So that is basically the best survival mechanism for the virus. If it is already very prevalent, then it can just live with the host. What is the point of killing the host?
Can you name some acts and legislations related with biotechnology?
So nothing comes to mind.
Okay, or plant and variety seeds, some
Yes, sir.
act is there?
For the patents.
Does Environmental Protection Act also covers biotechnology in some ways?
Yes, sir.
You're not sure. Okay. How to deal with the coal shortage that is going on in the country?
There are two main issues with it. That is, we must freely allow companies to import the coal. Second would be the payment to the discoms. If we just keep on delaying the states keep on delaying the payment to the discoms, then if there is a sudden price surge, then they will suffer, because discoms will not have enough money to pay the power producers, and they will not have enough money to bring the coal in.
Is GM foods allowed in India?
So we put the restriction about to what can be the percentage that can come inside India.
As a biotech graduate, what do you think should be the policy? Shouldn't we allow GM food to fight the climate change also, and the hunger and food shortages also?
So we must lay down conditions like medical trials, so we could weed out the GMOs that are not good, and we should allow those who are good.
Okay, thank you.